Hi guys, this is Pyron here with 4 vocabulary words to help you on your English journey. Let's start talking about the word stately. Now, stately, according to the dictionary, means having a dignified, unhurried, and majestic manner. When we talk about stately, we think of state. When we think of state, let's start talking about Great Britain and the royal family. Whenever we see the royal family on TV, right? Kings, queens, princesses, etc., they always behave in a stately manner. Here are some examples. Number 1, this is what I've always personally noticed. They never run. They always walk slowly. They walk slowly in this stately manner. They have this stately walk because no one is going to tell them to hurry up. Why? Well, because they're royalty. Also, they dress impeccably. They dress in a stately, and even their dress is stately because they are immaculately groomed, right? Clean shaven, obviously, and they wear the best custom-made clothes. If we watch a movie, for example, Kingsman, there's usually a banquet scene where the royal family is sharing a meal together. Now, when they share a meal, it's, for example, a stately banquet. There's a huge table, 10-course meal, and on the table there are, 5 different types of forks, 5 different types of spoons, right? The first meal that comes in is a giant pig with an apple in its mouth. And you're like, wow, that is a stately banquet held in a stately hall by the stately family. Also, when they eat, for example, when they eat the pig with an apple in its mouth, do they put their arms on the table and speak with their mouths full? Are they like, oh, this is a big? No, they don't. They never speak with their mouths full, and they always keep their elbows off the table. Why? Well, I guess they're behaving in this stately manner in order to separate themselves from commoners such as you and I. Now let's talk about suppress. Suppress, according to the dictionary, again means to put an end to, prevent the development of, or expression of something. I am sure that even the beginners who are watching this will have heard of the word suppress at least once. For example, when we go on the subway or when we enter the classrooms now, especially after COVID-19, it is important to suppress our coughs or the urge to sneeze. Why? Because let's say I ride the subway and I sneeze very loudly, achoo, into my arm. The people around me on the subway will not suppress their anger, and they will glare at me directly with their eyes telling me, maybe you should have stayed home if you're going to sneeze in public. If I sneeze in the classroom, obviously students are not going to glare at me. They're not. Well, please don't if I do. They're not going to glare at me, but they will not suppress their discomfort, and they'll probably try and maintain some distance between myself and them. Another example of suppress comes from ballet dancers. Ballet dancers, as you should probably know, are very skinny, right? They have, these skinny, delicate, beautiful bodies. But how do they attain these bodies? Well, obviously, they attain these bodies by practicing ballet. And yes, ballet, I mean, no, 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 no. That type of ballet, not ballet dancers. So ballet dancers, to maintain their bodies, they obviously practice ballet a lot, but also they chain smoke. They chain smoke because apparently cigarettes suppress your appetite. Now, I wouldn't recommend this, but I would say never trust a skinny cook, and never trust a ballet dancer who doesn't smoke. Now let's talk about the word supple. Supple, again, this is the dictionary definition, but it means something that is bendable or easily flexible. Let's continue talking about ballet dancers. When we see them, right, on the stage or on TV, their bodies are very flexible because they can do things that, inflexible people such as yourself and I cannot do. But supple does not only apply to bodies. Let's talk about material objects. This is my wallet. As you can see, I've got lots of money in my wallet. Now, if I take my credit card out of my wallet, it becomes supple. This leather is supple. It is easily bendable, as you can see. The last example for supple that I'd like to use is when we talk about people's brains. Children, it's easy for children to learn something new. It's easy for them to learn a sport or a new language. Why? Because their brains are so supple. Those of you who are watching this right now are probably adults, and you're watching this. Why? Because you didn't study English hard growing up, right? I mean, that's why I'm here trying to help you. And it's harder for you to learn because your brains are no longer supple. However, if you have children in the future, chances are quite likely you will force them to learn English from a young age. Why? Because you know the importance of learning something when your brain is still supple, when it hasn't hardened yet, and it is like a sponge. It absorbs information, more information quickly. So remember, try and be supple. Try and maintain that, suppleness of the brain for as long as possible. Let's finish off by talking about venal. Venal, this is again the dictionary definition, is when you want to criticize someone because they're willing to do anything for money. If you turn on the TV or go to Naver News, it is easy to find politicians or YouTubers who are criticizing either conservatives or liberals, right? It can be liberals criticizing conservatives. It can be conservatives criticizing liberals. Now, I don't want to get into politics, but what I've also noticed is that the insults that they use to criticize their opposing policymakers, lobbyists, etc., is more or less similar. They tend to use the term venal quite often. Conservatives can say the venal administration of President Moon has sold the country to North Koreans. Liberals can say the conservatives, on the other hand, sold their country to the Japanese, and it goes back and forth, with the other side saying that, my opponent is guilty of accepting bribes. Where his heart should be, there is only a wallet. That's what venal means. You can say venal lawmaker, venal policies. You can say my opponent is a venal president. So venal is when you want, again, to insult somebody. So I would say to you, please try and refrain from becoming a venal politician, corporate lobbyist, teacher even, in the future. Thank you for your attention.